welcome to the 2018-2019 A Random Hello Teacher Planner Walkthrough. Originally, I was planning on shooting the video of me putting together the planner and going through the planner in one video, and it ended up being like over an hour long. And so I decided, you know what, it's probably better to just keep it separate. So I've already put my planner together. I'm using a Martha Stewart disc-bound notebook cover, and then these are the rings from a different Martha Stewart notebook. So as soon as you open it up, you can see that I have my cover design printed and laminated, and I've trimmed the edges and punched it and included it here. Now, the cover design this year is a hexagon print. Last year it was just diagonal lines, and I have 3 different color options for this year's planner. So I'm going to insert that into the video right here. Again, this year there are going to be 3 different color options. There is a color sampler document included in the package that you purchase on TPT, so you'll have a better idea of which color you want, and also how the colors print on your printer, because on my screen and my printer I'm seeing 2 very different colors. And so this is the ice cream pop set. This is like a pastel toned, like candy colored set here. I also have the Seaside Candy, which is a little bit more of a mature color set. It's not so pastel-y. It also has a tan color in there. And so there's this one, it's a little bit more bold as well. And then there's the Techie Blues, which is kind of my gender neutral color set. There's no pinks in here. So a lot of the colors are from the Seaside Candy set. So these 4 colors are coming up again in here, and then this color as well. So it's pretty similar, it's just slightly different. All right, so here is my color choice. This is the ice cream pop version, and there are different variations of the same cover. So there's ones with the multiple colors in the hexagons, and then I have, for each color theme, I have ones that have just one color with the hexagon print with a different speech bubble color on the corner. Now, some of the speech bubbles will have the years listed on it, and then some are blank so that you can customize it to however way you want to use it. And I also include what could be your back cover option with a plain hexagon print without the speech bubble. But I really like the ice cream pop colors, and I like them when they're all together, so that's what I went for. So all of the planner cover designs are included in the product. Now, as soon as you open the product, you will be given the option to choose between your 3 color choices. And then within those color choice folders, you'll have all the different documents. So you'll have the planner cover documents, you'll have the actual planner itself, and all of the add-ons included in the folder that matches whichever color theme you choose. Now here's the opening page. It's very similar to last year's planner. I still have that same hello greeting you as you open your planner, and then I've just changed some of the fonts for this year. So I've gone with the Clicker Script and the Didact Gothic fonts. They're both open fonts that you can find online, so that if you want to print things or add on to this planner, you can download those fonts for free online. All right, here for the About Me section, and it's got your name, your email, your phone number, your Twitter handle, any other information about yourself, and just the classes you teach. And then for the school, it has your name, address, district, your room number, your phone number, and then that's probably the phone number for the school, and most likely you have a class extension. So that's pretty much the same as last year's. Now this year I decided to print mine on cardstock because my front cover got very beat up last year, or front page got very beat up last year. Here we have the emergency contacts. This is the same, there's 2 entries for that. For the friends and mentors, I've added 1 more set of entries here. So there used to be 8, now there are 10. My math team is getting bigger this year, so I know I'll need at least 2 more contacts on mine, so I added those in. And again, just a reminder to not hesitate to call your teacher friends or mentors for feedback and or advice. Don't put yourself on an island. Make sure to talk to other teachers and bounce your ideas off of them as well. This is new to my planner this year, which is the 2018-2019 at a glance. So this is all of 2018, this is all of 2019. Personally, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be using this, but I know that other teachers have requested that this be in their planner and have found it to be very useful. So I know some people use different color highlighters to highlight certain days, like days off or like vacations that they're taking and whatnot. So you could use it for that function. It's totally up to you. Here we have the important dates. So this used to be the curriculum mapping page where I had it start with July and then end with June. And then I was originally planning on using it for curriculum mapping, but I realized that I don't map out my curriculum by months. I map it out kind of just by days. And so sometimes it spans multiple months and sometimes it doesn't. And so I decided to keep these month pages available, but this time it goes from January here to December. And teachers can use this for birthdays, they can use this for like planning out field trips, whatever you want. But it's more open to just planning out the year in general. And then here is what I'm doing for curriculum mapping this year. I have it listed by weeks with 5 days available. Now I go on a block system, so I only see my students 2 times to 3 times a week. So I might have to change that for mine personally, but it does have weeks 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, and then 31 through 40. I'm assuming most schools don't go past 40 weeks. If you do, just let me know and I'll make sure to give you an add-on that'll extend past 40 weeks of school. Now I have 3 different classes that I teach. I teach 2 different math classes and then I teach yearbook as well. So I'm actually going to need to do an add-on to insert into here. So the add-on file actually starts with this page and then it ends off with week 10 on the back. And so I know it looks strange, but if you just print it out as is, double-sided, then you can insert the add-on here and then it'll give you 2 sets of curriculum maps. And if you want to insert another one, you can insert another one here right after the week 10 mark and it'll add multiple classes for you. But I feel like this is a little bit better in terms of how I plan out my classes, because again, it's not by a month basis, it's not themed to the months, it's just purely going through day by day and week by week and seeing where that fits. Now here is a monthly spread for June. Now mine, I've typed in some extra events. Yours will just say summer solstice and Father's Day, so any important dates will be listed on your monthly spread, but you won't have these birthdays that I've written and other events that I'm attending. The main things that have changed from the monthly spread from last year is that last year my header was very large. It filled up about more than 1 inch of the top section of the spread. But this year I've minimized that to maximize the amount of space I have for the actual months and for writing here. So my banner up top is more like my weekly banner and the fact that it's thinner. And then I've also added on here the Bible verse for the month. So again, I have 2 different versions of my planner. There's a Bible verse version, which will have a different Bible verse at the top of every month. And then I also have a plain version that does not have the Bible verse. So depending on which version that you purchase, you'll get one with or without the Bible verses here. The general layout of the months are pretty much the same. I was considering using no lines for the days, but I realized that not having lines really makes me anxious about writing crooked. And so I went ahead and put in the lines. They are fairly light though, and so they're not very, they don't stand out as much as the other lines on the page do. The weekends are highlighted in pink. And I know some teacher planners like to start the week on Monday, but for me, when I'm looking at a month overall, I like to see the weekends on the sides. It just matches all the other calendars in my house. And so I like to keep the weekends on the edges. However, it's different inside the actual planner. This column is still for notes, and we still have a preview and a post view month at a glance as well. So this is again in the ice cream pop color theme. And so June is in a blush pink. July is in a teal color. August is in a purple. September is in a magenta. October is in a bluish gray. November is in a light green, and December is in the blush pink again. So I wanted to show you what a weekly spread looks like, so let's take a look here. Okay. First off, some major changes from last year. Last year, my banner went all the way across the top, but it took up space for each of the days. So I decided I wanted to maximize more writing space, and so I took away the banner that went all the way to the top, and I just kept it to the right side corner. So it'll just say the month and the year. Again, for the weekly spreads, this is more for lesson planning, and so I did make the priority of the pages the middle days of the week, the weekdays. And then the weekends are kind of posted on the side. So it does not match the monthly spread because my monthly spread starts with Sunday and ends with Saturday. And my weekly spread starts with Monday and ends with Sunday. Last year I had a to-do list on the side, but I realized that I was using a to-do list on a daily basis. And so this to-do list did not suffice. So instead, I've actually completely removed the to-do list, and I was going to make it a notes section. I realized, you know what, I want to make this an open space for you to use for whatever you would like, whether that's stickers or notes. You can just put whatever you want here. It's very open. For the actual main weekly spread, I've kind of rearranged things. So let me show you what it looked like last year. So here is a page from last year that I did not use yet. And so here you'll see the lines were much darker last year, but I went for a lighter line. I kind of went more minimalistic in this year's. So they're no longer boxes. I've kept those kind of more open. It's more breathable. So this space here, I have moved it up to the top. Now what I used for this space for was for meetings, duties, student events that I needed to attend to. If students told me what their birthday is, then I would put it here. I can't keep track of everyone's because I do teach high school and I have a lot of students. But this is where I used for that space. And so I decided that it would be more appropriate for it to be at the top of the page so that it's easier for me to see as opposed to having to look at the bottom. Now last year I had lines sections for both of these two major sections. Now my reason for doing two sections was because I teach secondary, and so I don't teach 7 different topics a day. I maybe teach 2 to 3 at most, and so I decided to split my section in this way. However, I teach block schedule, and I do teach 3 classes, but I mainly use my planner just for my math classes, and so I have 2 different math classes. Now, as a block schedule though, I teach one math class on one day and I teach both on the other. As I was using this planner, I ended up just using one of the top sections for one of the classes and the other top section for the other, and I didn't end up using the bottom section for lesson planning. So let me show you an example of one of my weeks. So here is an example. Now I haven't finished lesson planning, obviously. I haven't decided on my warm-up yet, although it's the day after tomorrow and I probably should figure that out. But here I would just write the agenda for the day. And again, I teach this class every other day, and I teach this class every day. And so I'm able to write the agenda on every other day, and I was able to use the bottom section more for a daily to-do list. And so I would just draw in my boxes. I know it's not the same, but I would just color theme it to some washi tape that I was using, and that's what I did. So for this year's planner, there are 2 options for the weekly spreads. Now it'll still be this minimalistic style. However, the one that I'm using is where I have lines for both of these 2 sections, and then the bottom section is all check boxes. Now you'll have the option, there is also one where it'll just have these same lines here, and so it'll kind of have lines throughout, more similar to my planner from last year. So you'll have the option to choose which version you want for your planner. All right, and so just to flip through the rest of the months, you've got January, February, March, April, May, June, and I've also included the monthly spread for July. So last year my planner was a 12-month planner, and that it went from July of 2018, it went from July of 2017 to June of 2018. However, this year I've included June of 2018, and it goes all the way past June and to July. So this is actually a 14-month calendar. Or sorry, I keep saying calendar. This is a 14-month planner, and it will just include the month for July. And the reason for that is that as I was using my planner this year, I just had several dates that I had for July that I needed to write down somewhere, but I didn't have anywhere to write it. So I just went ahead and included just the month for July here. And then my school year actually ends in the first week of June, and so I start planning for next year in June. And so I made sure to include a full set of June for this year's calendar. All right, the notes section is very similar to last year's notes section. So it still has 4 quadrants of graph paper, and it's kind of separated with this little bit of a boldened gray line. And I do have a banner for you to write the title for the page, or if not, you don't even need to use it. It's not that conspicuous, so you can just use the notes pages as you wish. Now, the reason for my splitting it into 4 quadrants is that I usually don't need a whole page. I usually just need about 1 quadrant of like note space during a meeting, and so I decided just to split it up in this way so I can use the space a little bit more flexibly. And again, this is last year's planner and this is this year's, and so it's very similar. I just changed the banner design here. The planner file includes 20 pages of notes, and there is an add-on for the notes pages, and so you can insert that anywhere. I believe it's appropriate to fit it at the very second to last page of your notes. Then it'll cycle the colors appropriately. So that is available. So here are different colors. I know it kind of shows up really washed out on the camera, but it is a little bit darker in person. I've included less notes pages on mine just to save ink and paper, but I will print out more as I need them. All right, here's the student checklist page. This is pretty much the same as last year. There are 15 entries here, and then there are now 36 student entries instead of 35, because I ended up having a class of 37 for just a little bit during the school year, and so I decided to make this have one more, and hopefully you don't have a class larger than 36 students. So here you can write the students' names. The colors are alternated so that it's easier for you to track which student you are looking at. And here you can use this for whatever you'd like. As an elementary teacher, it might be for like field trip forms and things of that nature. And as a high school teacher, I use this for different assignments and quizzes that I'm grading and the different standards I'm teaching, and then there's scores here. I like having a physical copy of my grade book because a lot of times I make mistakes when I enter it on the computer, and I'm able to refer back to here to make sure that I've inputted it correctly. And there have been multiple times this school year where my students have corrected me and have told me that I've inputted something incorrectly. And so this is a really good way for me to check that it is indeed incorrect and then going back and putting it in. I will include a file for you to be able to print out your own student roster here, and you can just glue that right on top of this checklist. And yeah. Now, what you could do if your roster does not change during the school year, instead of having to rewrite the names multiple times, you could just cut along this edge here and just flip the smaller section to show you the student names already written, and so you don't have to rewrite them every time. My roster changes way too much during the school year for me to do that. Here is the student accommodations page. Last year, I had the student accommodations and the medical information all on one page with just kind of a paragraph space for both of them, and that definitely was not enough. So I have a lot of students. I am a secondary teacher, and I actually have a lot of students who do have accommodations, and so I ended up making this a 2-page spread. I believe on yours it's just 1 page, but there is an add-on for you to add on more pages of student accommodations. So I know I'm going to have a lot of students that have accommodations, and so I just extended it to 2 pages. But yours, you might not need this much space, so I only included 1. So it's very simple. It just says the student name, the class that they're in, or the period, or the block, whatever you call it, and then the notes that you need. So this would be where I write in like preferential seating or breaks during class, things of that nature. On the original document, the student medical information form is what is opposite the student accommodations, but for mine, since I've extended the student accommodations, I have my student medical information here. And this is for students with allergies. Maybe you have students with diabetes and things of that nature that you need to be mindful of. So I would put that here, again, just student name, what class they're in, their medical concern, and then the notes for that. I might also just photocopy this for my substitute and just leave it in my substitute binder for them to know that there are several students with medical concerns that they need to be aware of. This is the extended student absences form. This is new this year, and this was suggested by one of my YouTube commenters. And so here it just has their student name, the class, the date of the absences, and some notes that I have here. So I have way too many students to track all absences. There are students absent all the time, but this is what I'm going to use for extended absences. So students who go on spring break early and come back late, or students who go on winter break early and take an extra week off, things of that nature, I'll be able to log here. I might even just use this to make note of, like, did I give them their homework packet? Did they return it? Things of that nature. Here is a behavior incident log. This is something that was, again, suggested by a YouTuber, and I've seen it in other teacher planners. I just feel like there's too many for me to log, but maybe this will be a good way for me to log certain repetitive behaviors. And so again, this is student name, the class, the particular behavior that I'm logging, and then what did I do or what did the student do afterwards. This is also new. This is a parent communication log. So this one tells the date, the student name, the class, and then the notes regarding that message. So I have several students who are constantly receiving in danger of failing emails, and that would go in this section here. Professional development. I don't have to log my professional development, but this is just for my own personal use. I have the dates, the name of the event, the location, the cost, and then I don't know what to use this for. It's up to you. I might use it for whether or not I chose to reimburse it. I might use it for whether or not I paid for the event and things like that. Again, all of these are included in add-on forms, so if you need more pages than what is included in the original planner document, you can print them on your own and just insert them right away into whichever section you need. Here is the teacher expense log. This is the same as last year. I printed out like 3 pages for myself of this because I know I'm probably going to need more, and I'm probably going to have to use the add-ons to print more out here. And again, it just has the date, the items, the cost, and then a check mark. Again, I don't know if you get reimbursed for your purchases. I usually don't because my budget goes through a separate, I have to buy things through a separate format in order to purchase things. So this is just more for my personal teacher expenses. So here we're heading into the media logs. Now these are totally for your own use. This has nothing to do with your classroom. This is just for yourself. So this is my movies watched spread. Now I included 2 for my planner because I know I watch a lot of movies every year. And so here I have space for the title, and then there's a 5 little, they're really lightly printed, but there are 5 empty stars, and so I can give it a 5-star rating depending on the movie. And so I have 2 spreads of that. Songs to remember, I only need 1 page, so this is just the title of the song and the artist. So anytime I have a song that the students sing or that I just hear that I like during the year, I'm going to put it here. And then this is for shows watched. I don't watch a lot of television, and so this would just be the name of the show that I watched and then the rating here as well. So if I watch full seasons of anything, I would log it here. Now this spread has changed significantly from last year's. So last year's I had these like colored headers and then 2 columns that were completely blank, and for me it did not work out very well. Obviously I have not written very much on it and the year is almost over. So I decided to go for more lines to give it a little bit more structure. It still has 2 columns, but it is broken up into kind of half-page sections, and so technically there are 4 sections here. I decided not to have the headers on top because I felt like they were a little bit restricting, and so you can go ahead and use each section for whatever you want. I might think about each class that I teach and the different units I teach and write the ideas I have for that. But for me, having it very unstructured made it very difficult for me to use, and it wasn't very useful to me. But I think if I go ahead and structure it a little bit more based off of Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, things of that nature, then I think it'll be more useful for me. So I hope that this system works better for you as well. But again, it's a nice place to put all of your different ideas for next year so you don't forget when you think like, oh, next year when I do this, I'm going to do it a little differently. You can write it down right away so you don't forget. Again, any of these last log pages, these are all available as add-ons as well, so you can add on more pages as you need throughout your planner. It'll be available on my TPT store for $8. It might be on sale at the beginning, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. So I hope you find this planner to be very useful and helpful for you to stay organized during the school year and inspired to continue to just teach from your heart and to just do the best that you can to support students and help you log all of those events because it gets a little crazy during the school year. So I hope that you enjoyed this planner walkthrough. I hope you like the planner. I'm really excited to share this with all of you once again. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much. Go check out my other video where I show how I put this planner together, how I got these tabs in place and whatnot. So go check that out. All right, bye-bye.